and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia, also known as SG from Let the Lady Speak podcast, where we discuss life, love, dating, and relationships, and I also promote healing and self-love. Here on my YouTube channel, I am doing reviews. Tonight I'm reviewing the season finale of Put a Ring on It, season 2, Bust Pipes or Make Diamonds. First and foremost, I want to welcome you if you are new. Thank you for coming. If you are a new subscriber, I appreciate you. If you are returning, welcome back. Good to see you. I want to thank you so much for your time. You could be anywhere, but you choose to be here. And I just want you to know your presence is greatly appreciated. Now, let's get into tonight's episode. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. All right, let's get to it. Egypt is the host for the reunion. I like when Egypt hosts. I did not watch Put a Ring on It all the way through last season. A lot of reasons why I didn't watch the rest of the show, or I don't watch a lot of reality TV, is I actually physically feel the pain of people. And I'm going to get into detail about that, a little more detail about that later in a separate video. But I often feel the pain, so I have a hard time enjoying the show for entertainment because sometimes I am physically feeling their pain and their trauma. So last season I kind of stepped away just because it got to be a little bit too much for me. This season, of course, I didn't have that option because I am reviewing the show and I've dedicated myself to a certain task in reviewing the show. So I had to hold myself accountable. But oftentimes I can't deal. But when it comes down to the couples, Egypt asked all of the couples whether or not they got what they needed from the show, and everybody said yeah. Alexis is like, which girl, you got what you needed. I promise you, you got what you needed. You finally get to learn how to trust your gut. And then Darian said, I wanted to take advantage of the full experience. And you did, Darian. You took full advantage of the experience. And in the process, you lost a really good person. But right now, Darian is not in a place where he can have a healthy relationship, I feel. And I don't think it's a good idea for him to continue wasting Alexa's time. So everything worked out the way that it should have. So we start off with reminiscing on the quotes of Dr. Nicole. And I know everybody calls Dr. Nicole the Riddler. But you know what? I know I've said this before. I love me some Dr. Nicole. And I aspire to be very similar to her. But being true to myself one day. Anyway, you talk about the feelings are not facts. And basically when she let Darian know, you know, Alexia has the right to walk away. She doesn't have to continue this roller coaster ride. Because the fact of the matter is, what Darian wanted was for everything to remain the same. He wanted his cake and eat it too. And he was hoping that he could give Alexia the ring and she would be happy and then she would stay. And later on, it can all come out that he cheated on her on the show. But it didn't work out in his favor and he's acting out. But we'll talk about that later. Anyway, Dr. Nicole was saying how, you know, you guys have to, the bottom line is you have to manage yourself. And I always say you're accountable for yourself. But they're basically saying the same thing. She talked about how people always point the finger at their partner. And the fact of the matter is, hey, it is about you. I think a lot of times, especially as women, we give our power away and we allow the other person to make the decision for us. The decision for your life is your decision. You have to decide. You should make an informed decision, absolutely. But at the end of the day, the decision is yours. So never give your power away to another person to dictate how you're going to be treated and handled and loved and cared for. You guys should partner with that. But if they are not moving, it is time for you to decide. Also, a lot of times we think the problem is the partner and sometimes it's you. And you don't have control over anyone else. You only have control over yourself. So at the end of the day, you need to deal with yourself. You need to make decisions for yourself. You need to look within and you need to heal yourself. And that's basically what Dr. Nicole is saying that we want to say that it's our partner, they're the problem, but really, it's all about you. And it's not to say that that person doesn't have issues. It's just what is right for you. What are you going to do? What are your decisions? How do you want to move forward? Are you getting what you need from the situation? You have to determine that, and then you can move forward. So then we have the discussion as far as social media and all of the things that have been happening since the show has been on. And Dr. Nicole has said how there's been great conversations because of the show. Men have approached her and said, I watched it with my girl. And they've been able to work through, because this is an unusual process, right? You want your partner to date someone else. And so they discuss that a little bit. And then Egypt goes around and asks everyone what are your thoughts on Dr. Nicole in the process? With Eric, Egypt says, you bought in right away. And he did. I think Eric fell down quite a few times, but Eric was really interested in the process, in my opinion, for what it really truly was. Eric has a desire to grow. So he's just trying to figure it out the best way he knows how. That's how I feel about it. And she didn't ask Jessica what gave you buy-in, and Jessica said Eric. Like, he's trusted and I'm a trusted. But we talked about how those two marry each other all the time. They do the same thing to each other. So I'm happy that this was at least something that was beneficial to them, that they both decided to take the process seriously because of one of their partners. And I hope they continue to do that. Sean talked about how Dr. Nicole was very upfront and honest and forward, and it wasn't just talking points. She was really, basically a human being with knowledge that helped them out. And so that was good. Alexia talked about how Dr. Nicole finally gave her kind of a wake-up call when she used the analogy related to sports. Like, do you bet against yourself when you play? And Alexia was like, no, because I'm out here to win. And she said, what about now? And she realized that by not trusting herself, she was giving up on herself. And that was her wake-up call, which I don't think they showed that on the show, but that was a great analogy for an athlete. Darian talked about he trusted his gut. Here's the thing. Darian contradicted himself. He was all over the place. I think there was some substance at play there with him and Kai. I'll talk about that later a little bit. But at the end of the day, Darian did what Darian does. Darian tells the truth and a lie at the same time all the time. He is very honest with who he is, but he lies because he tries to cover up what he's doing. But he tells you what he's doing. So he's right. He trusted his gut. He did what he felt was right because that's what he felt was right. It was wrong, but that's who he is. And so it was just a great opportunity for Alexia to see, so she can finally move on with her life, because he would have kept her on that roller coaster, honey. They would be still going round and round and round you go. Okay. So it worked out in the end. So we take a walk down memory lane with Sean and LaRonda, and Egypt asks LaRonda first, what did she learn about herself? And she said, I learned that I enable Sean. And Egypt's like, no, that's love. That's what you're supposed to do. No, enabling is unhealthy. Loving and supporting a person is one thing. Enabling is a whole nother thing. And that is not a good idea. But there isn't anything wrong with loving and supporting a person. And she asks Sean the same thing. Sean didn't really answer the question. Honestly, neither one of them answered the question, truth be told. Sean said, it was a tough process, but I love her, so Sean's happy. LaRonda, I'm still not sure. But let me say this. If you guys go back and look at the reunion, not the reunion. If you go back and look at the dinner or the engagement, you can see LaRonda's dad and Sean kind of have like a similar look. And I'm going to just say this, and I don't mean this in an incestual way at all. I'm not saying this is incest. Part of me feels like LaRonda protects Sean how she wanted to protect her father. And I don't know from what. I can't say that it's the mom or with the like, we don't know, because we know nothing about LaRonda and her family dynamic or anything like that. And this is just my opinion. I could be dead wrong. I could be wrong. It's two left feet. But I know oftentimes in relationships, we are reliving our childhood over and over again with our partners. And I'm just curious, like, is that what this is? Does she feel like she needs to protect Sean because Sean reminds her of her dad, and she's protecting her dad in a sense? Like, it's just interesting. I'm just curious, but we'll never know because we don't know LaRonda. I'm going to leave it alone after this. I'm not going to say anything else because the show is over, and she has a right to fly under the radar and spectate the whole show, and that's exactly what she did. That's pretty much it. And then they brought out their dates, and there was a little banter back and forth between Sir James and LaRonda. I'm not even going to get into that, but she chuckled a little bit at Sir James's, not LaRonda, Sean. She chuckled a little bit at Sir James's joke towards Sean, and I'm like, girl, no. So I don't know. We'll see. But they've been talking about how they're trying to do a better job. Now, Miss Brittany was there, and she looks cute with short hair. And Brittany said that, she really enjoyed the date. Sean said he enjoyed the date too, that they vibed out a lot and they had a lot in common. And for her, she said that, the last date was a little misleading. And I'm like, well, people have to stop getting confused. We know what this show is. And you can't read into too much. That's one thing. Like, if I could ever, one of my dating advice checkpoints is don't read into things. Let things be what they are. See them for exactly what they are. Don't read into them, right? You knew he had a woman and he was on the show trying to figure out if he wanted to be with his woman. Why did you think that there was some misleading? But that's how she felt. Those are her feelings. I can't take that away from her. And, LaRonda basically said, yeah, she would have dated Derek if Sean wasn't in the picture. But I don't think so, because honestly, for me, I don't see LaRonda as being as mature as she portrayed. But she does a great job of showing up a certain way. But I don't think that's really her, But again, we'll never know. So next we go down memory lane with Eric and Jessica. And it's so funny to see how Jessica believes what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. And it's like she does the same thing, but she doesn't want Eric to do what she does. She feels like it's okay for her to do what she does, but Eric can't do it, And I watched a couple reviews, and I read some comments, and I saw some people didn't feel like Jessica cheated on Eric, because their issues were cheating and trust and communication. Jessica absolutely cheated on Eric. And why do I say so? Because for me, my thoughts are, whenever you step outside your relationship, whenever you step outside your relationship to get something outside of your relationship that you and your partner agreed to have between the two of you, then you've cheated. And it doesn't mean sex. It could be communication, intimacy on other levels, finances. Just if you're doing something with somebody outside of your relationship that you do with your partner, in my opinion, you're cheating. Jessica was communicating with that guy prior to them breaking up. She waited till they broke up to have sex with him. But she had already established a relationship and a level of intimacy with this guy. And it continued. So in my opinion, Eric has every right to feel guarded and to feel the way that he felt, just like Jessica did when Eric was doing his thing. Now, one thing I will say, I don't know if I said that in that episode or not, is that Eric decided on her then, because most men will not stay after their egos can't take a woman having had a relationship with a guy in any form while they're together, and they usually do. Most men usually do walk away. So he decided on her at the time, but the both of them just have so much growing and healing to do. Hopefully they are just willing to do it with one another. In the end, though, they chose each other. Jessica said she didn't want anybody else but him. And you know, a lot of times in relationships, it's really just about deciding to work together. And then Eric said for him, it was just doing the work to get over the hump. So they decided on each other. Like I said in my last review, if they're happy, I'm happy. Relationships aren't easy. Everybody can always say what they would and wouldn't do and would and wouldn't put up with, but you never know until you're there, right? And then people that come into your life are reasons, seasons, lessons, and lifetimes. You don't know why that person is in your life, and that's really an internal struggle or situation with yourself to figure that out if you feel like this person is worth it. I just don't believe in abuse and neglect. I don't like that. But you know, this is their relationship and they decided to stick it out. So hey, we wish them the very best. So we start reviewing the dates and they show Jessica rubbing all over the guy with the muscles, and then they show Leilani rubbing all over Eric. And so, you know, Jessica's like, I just felt like, I love Jessica. She's so cute. I just felt like it was inappropriate. Girl, you were doing the same thing. That's what I made. Like, okay. And then, we reviewed the dates with Sean. You guys know how I feel about Sean. I don't trust Sean. Sean is the nice guy that I warned you about. In my, you know, these are my opinions. And, you know, basically, he felt like he would have a chance if Eric wasn't in the picture. I don't really think so. I don't think Sean is Jessica's type, but I do think Jessica enjoyed the attention, you know, because Jessica likes attention. So I think she enjoyed the attention, but I don't think she had much chemistry for him. But they said they did. So what do you guys think? Did you see the chemistry between Sean and Jessica? Or do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious. So now we're talking about Eric and Leilani. And I think they had more chemistry than Sean and Jessica did. But I'm not sure if Leilani was really okay with Eric. I'm not sure about that. But they had great chemistry as far as like they were comfortable enough with one another to be affectionate towards one another. But she says, you know, that's part of her job. Anyway, Miss Jessica is ready to fight, child. She's ready to bounce over her man. And she's just like, you know, I don't think Leilani was being respectful because all of the touching. I was like, Jessica, girl, we just showed you tell a man take off his shirt and you touched his chest. You mad at her for touching on Eric, come on. But you know, she was like, and you were talking about taking trips, like how are you gonna go on a trip with another man? And Leilani said the trips were about you, because Leilani highlighted that Eric never tried to cross the line. He never tried to get her phone number. He never tried to take her out. He wasn't inappropriate. Like, yeah, they were a little handsy, and we can all agree on that. But even then, you can see when Eric will like pull away from her and things like that. And then sometimes he got a little comfortable. I think it was a struggle for him because that is his love language. But at the end of the day, he made his decision. So I don't know. Leilani was like, no, girl, the trips were for you. Jessica, oh, she should have apologized. Jessica, you should apologize because you were wrong. But you couldn't even apologize. You just, and left it at that. But anyway, that was it. I didn't say this, but I think the cast looks nice. Everybody showed up looking nice. So Egypt asked them both what they learned. And, you know, Eric says he learned that temptation is real, which I'm sure he already knew that lesson, but he probably learned that temptation is real and he can fight it. I don't know. But he learned that temptation is real because Leilani, like I just said, was giving him what he likes, which is physical touch and affection. Jessica says that she learned that she can just be herself. And I just want to let you know, beautiful Jessica, that is internal. You should always feel like you can be yourself, but that starts with you knowing yourself, and then you know for sure you can be yourself in any circle. But both of them admit that this is still a work in progress and they're working on themselves. So child, now we're here on Darian and Alexi. So Darian, we go down memory lane, and Darian's all over the place, all over the place. First, he says he wasn't going to propose to her. And then he said, I was going to propose to her. Like Darian said, he was going to do it because it was what Alexia wanted. But it's not what he wanted. He didn't want to be married. But he did want to tie Alexia down. His plan was to get her pregnant and probably married. And he still was going to continue to do the things that he does. Darian has terrible coping skills. Ladies, when you date, find out what that man's coping skills are. Okay? You want to know what they are. How do you deal with issues? How do you handle stress? Ask those questions along the way and then watch his actions and take your time and pay attention, because Darian's flags are flagging and sprinkling and all over the place. Okay. And he can't control the issue he's having now is he can't control the narrative. He has to keep the story straight because he's told Kai one thing, Kai's there. He's told her another thing, her meaning Alexia, and Alexia's there. Then everything that happened with production plus everything is recorded, and he's been playing these games and telling these lies all over the place. So one moment he's saying one thing, yeah, I was gonna marry her, no, I wasn't gonna marry her. He's so confused just because he hasn't stood in his truth. And he's very hyperactive right now. Egypt asks, so let's try to keep this on track here. Let's be focused. Are you two together? No, they're not together. Do you have plans to get back together? No, we don't have plans to get back together. And that's the end of the story. We found out that, he was calling around and trying to get back with her. And we all know that Darian wanted the rock of the relationship with Alexia. Alexia was home. He's just not ready for it. And truthfully, he doesn't believe he deserves it. And he doesn't know how to operate in it because he comes from a place of chaos. So, like I said before, Darian needs some extensive therapy on multiple levels for multiple things. He really has to deal with those demons, and he really has to deal with and get better coping skills and get a handle on the things that are driving him to be so destructive, right? I believe that Darian loved Alexia the way that Darian knows how to love, but he didn't know what to do with it. He didn't trust himself with the relationship, and he doesn't love himself enough. Like, there's just so many layers there. But for the best way that he knew how, for the tools that he has, he does care for her. He does love her, and he is hurt that he hurt her. He's hurt that he ruined it in the way that he knows how to. I want to be clear on when I say that, how he knows how to. All of it is unhealthy, absolutely. I think sometimes we forget to give people the right to have a human experience based on their experiences, who they are, what they've been taught. And Darian is an example of that. His way of seeing love growing up was chaos. So this is love to him. He thought it would be like his grandparents and that they would stay together, and Alexia chose to walk away. That's really what this is. So he did the best way he knew how for what he has, but it's just the wrong way. He has to work on that in detail. I am proud of Alexia for sticking to her guns. I am proud of her. Like I said before, I think this will finally be a time where she'll realize that she can trust her gut. But I want her to stop going back to how she would have never known. You've known all the time. You just didn't have it in your face. It was just being confirmed. So you have confirmation now. And now moving forward that when you feel a way, you can really truly act on it, because she acted on it enough not to have sex with him because she felt like he was cheating, right? You just didn't have proof. You wanted that proof because no one wants to let go of the love of their life. They feel like, if I let go of the love of my life, who is going to love me like this person? No matter how toxic or crazy that love is, that's still their love. Who, if the sex was great, who's going to sex me like him? Like, you never think you're going to get all those things again. And you will. You will. And you'll get something better. But you have to be prepared for it. So you got to do the work on yourself to make sure when it comes, you'll welcome it, you'll cherish it, and you'll treat it right, and you'll accept it. Most importantly, there's nothing worse than trying to love a person that's not in a place to be loved. So, they just have to do that. But Darian has a whole lot of trauma, and even like some of his childish behavior. A lot of times when people experience trauma, they stay, a lot of times when people experience trauma, they stay at that age. Darian is at a very young age in his mind from whatever happened to him. So I really feel for him, and I hope he gets help. I feel for everybody though, because I feel like everybody has been through so much and they just haven't dealt with it. But I think Darian's is like the most toxic and traumatic experiences, probably outside of Sean. But Sean can manage himself in a different manner than Darian can. Kai comes out and they're about to unravel some more of Darian's mistruths or flat out lies. And Egypt is trying to help Kai out, but Kai can't focus. Okay. For one, she has an agenda because it appears that Darian has fed her all of this information. But I don't appreciate the fact that she's acting like she doesn't know what's going on. Although I know right now her status is altered. One, Darian told you 3 times, we can count, while the cameras were rolling, that he loved Alexia, he wanted to work it out, and that he wasn't going to leave her. He mentioned that 3 times. Now, I get behind the scenes, he was saying other things, and he was trying, because we see how Darian operates. His whole goal was to have them not like each other and be pitted against one another. That way, he can manipulate them how he wanted to, right? And the ladies can be each other's enemy. And it would give him an advantage, right? And then hopefully they will only believe him and not one another, so he can keep this farce going. But Kai is not being realistic, and she's not being honest with herself. He told you what it was, just like he said at the table. You knew what it was, right? She is just so hell-bent on being mad at Alexia. And I really think she's just jealous of Alexia. I think this is all about jealousy and all of the things that Darian has pumped into her head. So they go back and forth about, when they slept together. Because Darian said they slept together one time. Kai was like, Darian asked, you answer the question. Because Egypt asked, when did y'all sleep together? What date? And she said, Darian. And Alexia was like, no, Kai, you answer it, because he already told us. So, Kai was like, well, what did he say? It's the 3rd date. We slept together after the 3rd date. Now on the show, they said they slept together on the 4th date. This one, they say they slept together after the 3rd date. I personally think they slept together after the 1st date. If not the 1st, the 2nd, right? They were definitely hanging out and dating during this whole process, on and off camera. It wasn't just the on camera thing. Okay, that's number 1. And Kai thought she had this huge advantage, but it's crumbling because Egypt let her know, like, hey, there was a ring. He was going to get proposed. Like, girl, wake up. He had no intentions on being serious with you. And basically, you were second choice. And Kai didn't want to hear that. So she runs off to the bathroom. Then Darian goes after her. And because he has to get this under control. He's losing control of his whole setup. So he runs after her and tells the cameras to go away. But basically, Kai, you knew what it was. You just wanted to believe what he was saying, because you wanted to believe you took this man from her. You wanted to believe that you two were going to be together and things were serious. Darian is Darian. Until he does some extensive work, none of that is going to change. He's going to continue to lie and manipulate. He is not going to be faithful. He is not a man of integrity. He is not healthy. He is not ready for a relationship. And neither are you, my love. You really should spend some time on just you, focusing on you and dealing with whatever it is with you that makes you feel okay with being in a relationship with someone who has someone. Because she made that point, like, I don't owe you anything, talking to Alexia. And she's right. Technically, you don't. But as Alexia was trying to tell us, just like on some black girl magic thing, girl, just out of respect for another woman, right? And like I said, time and time again, You are accountable for yourself. So when you do things, you're saying, I'm willing to accept whatever comes with that. And so she's putting that karma out there. You're basically setting yourself up to be in the situation that you're in right now. And I think now Kai and Darian aren't together. I kind of check in on some of not YouTube, some of the gossip, and kind of not, because it's a lot. It's a whole lot going on, and people are lying. And I don't like people to play with my intelligence. No one is stupid. We know what's going on here, right? So let's just say it is what it is. I don't need you to try to make me believe your fantasy. That's your own fantasy. You can keep that to yourself. That's how I feel about it. So I won't really get into it, but I do catch bits and pieces here because Little Black Book loads things, and I watch his channel, and so does Everyday. Is it Everyday Husband quotes? I watch her stuff sometimes. So I've seen a little bit here and there, but I'm not really interested in following it. I just want them to walk away. Now, Kai and Darian, if I was to put a couple together, that would be a couple. But the problem with that is that there is nothing healthy about them two being together. So yeah, they deserve each other because they're kind of two peas in a pod. But it wouldn't be anything healthy. And my issue with that is that they have children. And what they're doing impacts more than them. It impacts their children. And so they really don't belong together. So I'm rewatching the show as I'm doing the review and going over my notes. And I noticed that during the rewatch, Alexia's dates aren't on here. But just briefly, Alexia is still friends with the guy, love and basketball guy. So they're hanging out, like talking on the phone. But she likes Chris, the guy who was a little more assertive and who was trying to let her know you need to wake up and stop focusing on him. And so he went and sat next to her, and I guess eventually they're going to go on some dates. And then Dr. Nicole and the whole cast comes back, and they basically talk about, what advice does Dr. Nicole have for everyone? And it's the same thing. Work on yourself, heal yourself. You'll be a better person to be in a relationship with, and you'll do a better job at managing a relationship once you deal and heal yourself. So the theme is the same. It starts with you. It's all within. That's pretty much it. Jessica and Eric are having a home built in Orlando. They haven't set a date. They're going to work on the wedding after their home is built. And then Sean and LaRonda are pretty much basically working on themselves. Sean is, spending more time on his career. They're doing individual work, but they're still together, but they haven't set a date either. And sure, I wish the couples the very best in life. I just want everyone to realize, that you can be a better version. You don't have to be where you came from. You can grow from that. You can be better from that. If that place was an unhealthy, unhappy, abusive, or neglectful place. Ladies, I just really want the ladies to know not to give your power away. There's so much power in being a woman. There is, a lot of times we get labeled as emotional and weak and things like that, but we are some powerful beings. And that's not to say that men aren't. It's not to say that we don't need men. It's to say that we have so much to offer and we have so much power. And once you recognize your own individual power as a person and as a woman, it changes everything. So really, really look within, do the work for yourself, find out who you are, fall in love with yourself, and it will change the people that come into your life, the relationships that you have, what you will tolerate. It will improve your discernment. And it just will do outstanding things. I am a witness to that. Really, truly, I am. So I want to thank all of the cast members from coming on the show, because as Dr. Nicole said, it is really hard to do the work, but it's great to see the work being done. I really, really hope and wish and pray that our community gets to a place where we understand that therapy and treatment and conversations work, and that they're a good thing, and that you can grow from within. I want to thank you for coming to my channel and spending some time with me. Guys, it's been a long day, but I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for all of the support. Please don't forget to comment, subscribe, and thumbs up the video if you see fit. Let me know your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree. I always enjoy the comments. I am going to see you soon. I will be back next week. I'll have a video next week. I will see you soon. But if there's something that you guys want, let me know. But again, I'm going to talk about it in another video. Don't forget to love you for who you are. Thank you for letting me speak. Have a wonderful week. Take care. Bye-bye.